The Politics podcast brought to you as always by TakePoliticsSeriously.com. That is where at the $3 level you get 3 podcasts a week. And I don't know if you have seen what is happening in the news, but it's better to have 3 podcasts than 1. If you like this show, for real, you have no idea how much it supports me and looking at the stuff that we have going forward. It just really makes this platform a lot more agile. If you do support us at the $3 level, TakePoliticsSeriously.com. Also, we got brand new merch. If you're watching us live, then you'll be able to see me in the shirt. But the official, first ever official Wave Watch t-shirt is now live. bit.ly/WaveWatch shirt. And you can see me live election night in the San Francisco Bay Area by going to bit.ly/WaveWatch. Those are tickets to the live show election night. All right. Enough of talking about how we support the show. What do you say we just do the damn thing?
Politics, 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 politics. Yes. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, baby, 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 baby.
Oh, yeah. Welcome. Welcome, friends, to the Politics program. My name is Justin Robert Young. This is the only show that ever talks about politics. I mean, you might be fooled. A lot of pretenders to the throne. You know. Do they? Do they talk about politics? Really? I don't know. I ain't never listened to them. Neither should you. This is it. The one true political discourse. And it's only coming out of my mouth. By the way, go take a look how awesome this fucking t-shirt looks. Let me go ahead and make sure that I give a big shout out to our creator here. And I'm going to get to everything. Yes, I'm shilling shirts. Yes, I'm shilling a live show on election night at the Piano Fight Theater in San Francisco. 7 o'clock start time. Plenty of time to get there from work. But we will get to Avenatti. We will get to Kavanaugh. We will get to Rosenstein. We will get to a new entrant into the poop buffet. We've got not 1, not 2, but 3 campaign commercials that I absolutely have to show you. And we will discuss whether or not there can ever be a moderate elected on the Democratic side in 2020. Big shout out to Penny, though. I wanted to get Penny's name right before we went on because she did the Wave Watch logo. For those of you who are not into the white, we will go ahead and make it available in other colors. This was just the first one. I also didn't realize that you couldn't make it in other colors right there. But and I'll tell you what. Let me ask you, because I realized when I put this up that it is very blue focused. I might be able to make a red version if you guys are into a red wave t-shirt. Then I'm more than happy to oblige. I don't know if this will necessarily be your year, but if you want to have it just to have it, I'm always a fan. So go ahead and pick it up, bit.ly/WaveWatch shirt. Enough talking about that. Let's talk about what you're here for. I don't even know where to start because so much has happened since the last PX3. So, God, where did we leave a week ago? A week ago, I was saying that it was likely that Kavanaugh was going to be confirmed because it didn't look like Dr. Ford, the first accuser, the one who says that she was pushed down onto a bed by Kavanaugh. He was struggling to get her one-piece bathing suit off, as well as the clothes above her one-piece bathing suit. She was then, the two of them were then jumped on multiple times by Mark Judge. She escaped, and that was that. She had, last week, she was unwilling to testify. But, oh, friends, how much has happened? Let's go ahead and do the cliff notes. Number 1, Dr. Ford reversed course. Beep, beep, beep. And now decided that she was going to testify. So then the question was exactly under what circumstances she is going to testify. Through her lawyer, they agreed that there would be, Kavanaugh would not be in the chamber when she testified. They agreed to that. Kavanaugh then, through the negotiations, determined that he would speak after Dr. Ford. There are still, even as we speak, some issues that have yet to be resolved before the hearing that is theoretically going to happen tomorrow, up to and including who is going to be asking the questions. The Republicans refuse to name the female who will be asking Dr. Ford the questions. So, there's that. Then comes Sunday. Ronan Farrow. This is a Farrow exclusive. He drops a new allegation. The new allegation is that while Kavanaugh was a freshman at Yale during a dorm party that included copious beers, at a certain point, a drunk fellow Yale freshman by the name of Deborah Ramirez was on the floor. Kavanaugh pulled out his penis. Oh, wait, hold on. Bad Weave is pointing out that they have named Rachel Mitchell as the questioner. So that has happened. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do my best to get us up to date. Things are changing by the second. So if that's not true and you are making a joke, then please correct me. But if that is, I have no idea if Rachel Mitchell's the person. We're getting things in the chat. Okay, so Deborah Ramirez alleges that Brett Kavanaugh, during a drunken night freshman year at Yale, pulled out his penis and put it in front of her face. She tried to push him away and inadvertently touched his penis. That is Deborah Ramirez's account. So that was the second thing. Meanwhile, oh, and also in the Ronan Farrow article, which, to be just, trying to 360 understand and explain what is happening so we all know what's going into this event tomorrow. The Ronan Farrow article has one source on the record in the room when it happens, and it is Deborah Ramirez. Nobody else in the room is corroborating that happened. There are apparently multiple people in the room. So that was the second thing. In the Ronan Farrow article as well, there's a quote from a former girlfriend of Mark Judge who says that Mark Judge admitted to her at a certain point that while they were in high school, Mark engaged in having group sex with several of his friends with a woman who was drunk, although apparently consenting. That was according to the Ronan Farrow article. In the midst of all this, the man for whom we have referred to as the next president of the United States, Michael Avenatti, because he is just pretty good at doing what the last person that we didn't think was going to be president of the United States is good at doing, which is keeping his name in the news. said that he had a new client. This client would be able to provide significant and explosive allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. Now, do me a favor and indulge me as I take just a little deviation into Crazy Town. Yesterday, Michael Avenatti locked down his Twitter. And for a brief moment, now, proven to be unsubstantiated, but for a brief moment, there was the glimmer that maybe one of the funniest things I've ever heard would have happened, which is that Michael Avenatti's client was a 4chan hoax. 4chan, and when people say 4chan's taking credit, understand, if you're not familiar with 4chan, it's an anonymous message board, which means that 4chan is taking credit is statistically synonymous with some random dude is taking credit, literally. So, some random dude said that he had hoaxed Avenatti. That does not seem to be the case at this point, because this morning we get the deets from Mr. Michael Avenatti, and this is what they say. Below is my correspondence with Mr. Davis of moments ago. Together with a sworn declaration from my client, we demand immediate FBI investigations into these allegations. Under no circumstances should Brett Kavanaugh be confirmed, absent a full and complete investigation. And here is the sworn declaration of Julie Swetnick. I'm going to skip through some of the beginning part because, to be honest, you can summarize it with Brett Kavanaugh got drunk at parties. Brett Kavanaugh was abusive and physically aggressive toward girls, including pressing girls against him without their consent and grinding against girls and attempting to remove or shift girls' clothing to expose private body parts. He also made crude comments. She says that Brett by the way, that's the other thing. Brett Kavanaugh, in the middle of all this, went on Fox News to reframe things, said he is not withdrawing, that he is somebody that these allegations are not true about, and that specifically allegations that he ran a train or gang raped somebody would be categorically false, since he was a virgin throughout high school and many years thereafter. He refused to say exactly how many years thereafter, but many years thereafter. All right, so that's what he said. So meanwhile, Julie Sweatwick. This is accuser number 3, an Avenatti's client. Says that I have reviewed Brett Kavanaugh's recent claim on Fox News regarding his alleged innocence during his high school years and lack of sexual activity, and this claim is absolutely false. I witnessed Brett Kavanaugh consistently trying to engage with women in a sexual nature. But here is where things get, as we refer to in the business, grody as fuck. During the years 1981 to 1982, I became aware of efforts by Mark Judge, Brett Kavanaugh, and others to quote-unquote spike the quote-unquote punch at house parties I attended with drugs and or grain alcohol so as to cause girls to lose their inhibitions and their ability to say no. This caused me to make an effort to purposely avoid the punch at these parties. I witnessed efforts by Mark Judge, Brett Kavanaugh, and others to target particular girls so they could be taken advantage of. It was usually a girl that was especially vulnerable because she was alone at a party or shy. I also witnessed efforts by Mark Judge, Brett Kavanaugh, and others to cause girls to become inebriated and disoriented so that they could be, quote-unquote, gang raped in a side room or bedroom by a quote-unquote train of numerous boys. I have a firm recollection of seeing boys lined up outside rooms at many of these parties waiting to take their quote-unquote turn with a girl inside the room. The boys included Mark Judge and Brett Kavanaugh. In approximately 1982, I became the victim of one of these quote-unquote gang or quote-unquote train rapes where Mark Judge and Brett Kavanaugh were present. Shortly after the incident, I shared what had transpired with at least 2 people. During the incident, I was incapacitated without my consent and unable to fight off the boys raping me. I believe I was drugged using a Quaalude or something similar placed in what I was drinking. I am aware of other witnesses that can attest to the truthfulness of each of the statements above. I declare under penalty of perjury and under the laws of the United States of America that the foregoing is true and correct. I have executed this declaration on September 25th, 2018. So, what is she saying? Number one, that she witnessed efforts by Judge and Kavanaugh to become inebriated so they could be gang raped. So, she says that they were specifically trying to get girls drunk so they could have sex with them, to rape them. Right, let's not put too fine a point on it since they made sure to, quote-unquote, gang rape and train. And then she also says that she witnessed Kavanaugh and Judge waiting to participate in one of these gang rapes or train rapes. She is then also saying that in 1982, she was a victim of one of these and that Mark Judge and Brett Kavanaugh were present. So it is not specifically said that she was raped by Mark Judge and Brett Kavanaugh, but that they were present at the rape. She also says that she was drugged using Quaaludes. Brett Kavanaugh is saying that he has never met this woman, and this allegation is something that is totally, I think he referred to it as the Twilight Zone. As you might imagine, Michael Avenatti is doing what he does best, making as much as he can, tweeting a picture today of Julie Swetnick. She is courageous, brave, and honest, he says. I clicked on Michael Avenatti's pinned tweet, which I assumed would be this gigantic news-making event. Turns out it's his statement on the issues as if he's running for president. One more thing I wanted to get into about Julie Swetnick. She says that she attended Gaithersburg High School in Gaithersburg, Maryland. She says that she presently holds the following active clearances associated with working with the federal government, the Public Trust, and the U.S. Mint, and the IRS. So she holds clearances with the Department of Treasury, the U.S. Mint, and the IRS. And has previously held inactive clearances at the Department of State, Department of Justice, DHS, and Customs. So she is somebody that has worked within federal government for many, 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 many years. Let's go back to the very beginning with my predictions on the Kavanaugh situation. I believed that Dr. Ford's allegations, regardless of if you believe them, which if you're asking me, they seem plausible. I don't know whether or not they happen. I don't think anybody can say with confidence that they know something happened or not, but to me, it seems plausible that without a year let alone a month or a date that it is, and if she wasn't going to testify, which was the case last week, that it was something that I don't think would halt the nomination. However, what I have always said is that if Dr. Ford was the open door to other Me Too stuff, well, then all bets were off. Specifically, when Michael Avenatti came out and said that he had evidence about trains and gang rapes and that he encouraged Kavanaugh to be asked at this hearing about said trains and gang rapes, that stuff like that that's the kind of language that politicians don't want near them. They don't want to have a political ad run against them this year or any other year saying, this person doesn't believe. Like, when asked about gang rape, their answer was, can we please move on? Don't care about gang rape? Way to represent this town, right? They don't want that. Like, this is something that's what sinks this. So, let's cut out all the noise and focus on the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters about this. Susan Collins. That's it. There are a few possible swing votes, but I believe that they all hinge on Susan Collins. The three most prominent swing votes are Jeff Flake, outgoing Arizona Senator Jeff Flake, Lisa Murkowski, and Susan Collins of Maine and Alaska, respectively. Murkowski is going to go where Collins goes, and it doesn't fucking matter what Flake does. Jeff Flake came out today, literally before we were about to record the show, and gave a 9-minute speech about how he's going to attend the hearing tomorrow. Cool. Great job, Jeff. You're doing a hell of a job, man. Awesome time for you to give a 9-minute speech about how you're gonna do a thing. Murkowski yesterday did come out and say that this is rapidly getting to a point where the question isn't should he be confirmed, but rather should we believe the accusers. But Collins came out yesterday and said, I don't think Kavanaugh's going to overturn Roe versus Wade. So if you might indulge me, I have a little conspiracy theory for you. And I'd like to spin it. So let's walk down the path that Kavanaugh is done. And let's understand fully the context or the context of why he would be done. He would be done because of outlandish and massive sexual claims, right? Oh shit! Should we dim the lights? Should we create a conspiracy, a conspiratorial a conspiratorial atmosphere? Here we go. We're gonna dim the lights here. All right. Shh. Come on in. Bring it in. Here's my conspiracy. So, let's assume that Kavanaugh is out. And he's gone because of all these sex claims. So, where are you going to get the replacement that is going to get confirmed as fast as possible? Well, if your issue before is that the guy was too much of a frat boy, then the natural selection would be a woman. You go in the opposite direction. Who was the number one vetted woman on the short list for Donald Trump? Amy Coney Barrett. Now, if Susan Collins is out here saying she believes that Kavanaugh will not overturn Roe versus Wade because he respects precedent too much, and she has also said that she is not comfortable with Amy Coney Barrett because she would, in Collins's mind, be far more likely to overturn Roe versus Wade, then possibly what Susan Collins is trying to signal is that she wants Kavanaugh and she's willing to hold her nose to do it because she believes that that's what's best for the makeup of the court. Now, I don't know whether or not that's true. All I know is that's my conspiracy. Oh, yeah, by the way, we almost had a constitutional crisis on Monday. How's that one? Look at that. We almost had a constitutional crisis. Rod Rosenstein was so panicked about a New York Times scoop that came out on Friday. Oh, and by the way, Ninja Steve says if they push this to a vote and he doesn't get confirmed as doubtful, they'll get another nominee in before the midterms. I don't think that it's going to be before the midterms. They just need it in before the effects of the midterms go into place in the new year. So they would just need to have it done before Christmas. Okay, so Rod Rosenstein. He is the Deputy Attorney General at the Department of Justice. Apparently, according to the New York Times on Friday, he also suggested wiretapping the president, i.e., going in and having a conversation with the president and wearing a wire and also organizing a soft coup to remove the president from office under the pretext of the 25th Amendment. According to reports, he was so panicked over the weekend that he was going to have to go in front of Congress to answer questions about that scoop that he offered his resignation multiple times to Chief of Staff John Kelly, assuming he was going to get fired. This then came to a head after the Department of Justice started working on a press release talking about Rosenstein getting stepping down. That got out to the press. The press started calling Rosenstein. And so Rosenstein decided to say, oh, fuck it. I'll go to the White House and I'll offer my resignation or he'll fire me. I don't know. So everybody freaks out. Because, by the way, him resigning and him getting fired are two totally different things. If he gets fired, then the replacement has to be confirmed, I believe. And considering the fact that Rosenstein is the person that is overseeing the Mueller investigation, that is a tremendously politically charged situation. If he quits, the Trump administration can replace him a lot easier. They can replace him with a loyalist fairly easy. So, Rosenstein goes to the White House. Donald Trump literally not there. Literally in New York. Literally there for the UN. He says, fuck, stop it. I'll meet with you on Thursday. Okay. Also, and these are reports as of today, it appears as if Donald Trump is now also considering keeping Rosenstein on. This dude does not like conflict. So just to recap, a constitutional crisis that may or may not have put somebody being investigated by Robert Mueller directly in control of the investigation into himself with no safeguards in between might have all just been a game of telephone that accidentally happened, and now there will be literally no change. Although, who knows? Trump is set to talk to Rosenstein tomorrow. We'll see if anything changes there. I would have expected that to be the number one thing we talked about. I will say this. Rosenstein trying to organize, that's a coup. It's a coup attempt. When you are taking the temperature of everybody around you to find out whether or not you would vote up or down on a vote to say that your boss is mentally unfit to be president and needs to be removed, that's a coup attempt. You want to know what? One little turn about college bad behavior deserves another. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to this program, then I would like to welcome you to a little segment that we like to call The Poop Buffet. The Poop Buffet. Who's first in line today for the Poop Buffet? Please welcome to the Poop Buffet candidate for Lieutenant Governor of Florida, Chris King. Here's the headline. Florida Democratic candidate, I was nailed to the cross by Jewish journalists. Democratic candidate for lieutenant governor in Florida once said that his student government election campaign at Harvard University was thwarted because he was nailed to the cross by the student newspaper, which he noted had a Jewish majority on staff. Chris King, an evangelical Christian, narrowly lost the race for president of Harvard's undergraduate council in 1999 after the Harvard Crimson declined to endorse him, noting that his ticket's, quote, ties to religious groups had raised concern among students, end quote. I was nailed to the cross, King told the Newhouse News Service after the election. Quote, and the most of the editorial staff was so hard on me, the vast majority were Jewish. By the way, King is running for lieutenant governor with Andrew Gillum, the Democratic nominee, at the top of the ticket. They're running well, by the way. They're running ahead of Ron DeSantis, the Republican. You might remember that race as Ron DeSantis being the guy who called Andrew Gillum, or said that Andrew Gillum would, a black guy, would monkey up the progress that Florida had created under their previous Republican governors. So now, both sides get, hashtag both sides get a taste of the poop buffet. DeSantis decided to pile on here. Just a few more portions here at the all-you-can-eat poop buffet. Chris King's statements are deeply troubling. His comments, coupled with Andrew Gillum's recent statements, show that Andrew Gillum's campaign is running on an anti-Israel platform, which would be a disaster for Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a big round of applause as we leave Chris King to enjoy his time at the Poop Buffet. This is prime time for campaign ads. We got some good ones out here. I want to give you all a public service announcement. If you have a sibling, call them, ask them how their day is going, how their day went. Look, nobody wants to have somebody close to them take a gigantic poop on them when they're trying to do something big. And yet we have two examples that I'm going to show you of somebody taking sibling rivalry to new and crazy heights. We're going to start here in Wisconsin. This is for Paul Ryan's old seat. This is an ad by James Bryce. He is the brother of Randy Bryce, a.k.a. Iron Stash. Again, running for Paul Ryan's old seat, or soon-to-be vacated seat in Wisconsin. This is James Bryce talking about his brother.
My name is James Bryce. I've been a cop for over 23 years. FBI statistics show that assaults against law enforcement have gone up in the last few years. From my perspective, this has been motivated in part by cop-hating rhetoric. I've been to 3 cops' funerals in the last 2 years. 2 were shot while trying to protect people from violent criminals. When people refer to police officers as terrorists, that hits a little close.
For those of you who are only listening on audio, right now, superimposed over Mr. Bryce's speech is a picture of his brother, Iron Stash, Randy Bryce, being led away in handcuffs while a old tweet that says, "When police become terrorists," he's actually, I think he's commenting on a link that he is tweeting, but he definitely called some police officers terrorists.
Close to home. I don't think people want to be represented by someone who's shown contempt for those in law enforcement.
They then also show a mugshot of Randy Bryce, and they say that, they quote a AP article that said that he has been arrested 9 times.
That's one of the many reasons why I'm voting for Brian Style for Congress.
Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content.
And then we go out on a shot of Randy Bryce being arrested, and the line, Randy Bryce has been arrested 9 times. 9 times. I believe most of his arrests, I think he had a couple Deweys in there. I don't know for sure, though. I can't name all of Randy Bryce's arrest records just off the top of my head. By the way, that ad got Mama Bryce involved. Mama Bryce had to step in. Mom had to step in and said, "Boys, stop it. You stop fighting right now. Stop fighting. Stop fighting right now." And I thought that would be the most vicious. That was until I saw this ad. And you want to know what? I'm going to play this one in its entirety, because if you ain't heard it, boy, I think it kind of tells the story either in audio or video. Here we go.
Paul Gosar, the congressman, isn't doing anything to help rural America.
Paul's absolutely not working for his district.
If they care about health care, they care about their children's health care, they would hold him to account. If they care about jobs, they would hold him to account. If he actually cared about people in rural Arizona, I bet he'd be fighting for Social Security, for better access to health care. I bet he would be researching what is the most insightful water policy to help the environment of Arizona sustain itself and be successful.
And he's not listening to you, and he doesn't have your interests at heart. My name is Tim Gosar.
David Gosar.
Grace Gosar.
Joan Gosar.
Gaston Gosar.
Jennifer Gosar.
Paul Gosar is my brother.
My brother. And I endorse Dr. Brill.
Dr. Brill wholeheartedly endorse Dr. David Brill for Congress.
I'm Dr. David Brill, and
Okay, so even if you're just listening to this, even if you're only listening to this, right? Understand that you've just watched 5 siblings. Number one, I thought that videos entitled 5 siblings fuck brother when he least expect it are normally found on Pornhub. I guess they put them on YouTube now too. But not only does this ad do such a brutal job of treating Paul Gosar like a total piece of shit, but then afterward, his opponent, Dr. David Brill, is up here, and I need your guys' help to describe to the audience what David Brill looks like, because he's so unassuming. He's so just like he looks like a superintendent or a principal or maybe, you know, it's like the nice, like whenever like your boss's boss is actually way nicer than your boss, Dr. David Brill is that boss. Like he's got kind of a round face. He's got his wife next to him. She's wearing a paisley scarf with transition lenses in. He's just, it's such a weird look. It's just so weird after that was so fucking brutal. I can't, and then it just comes right after this. It's just like this hammer.
My brother. And I endorse Dr. Brill.
Dr. Brill wholeheartedly endorse Dr. David Brill.
And by the way, one of Gosar's brother is at a football field, and he's you know, just that wholeheartedly is like, my brother's a wholehearted piece of shit.
Gaston Gosar.
Jennifer Gosar.
Paul Gosar is my brother.
My brother. And I endorse Dr. Brill.
Dr. Brill wholeheartedly.
It just flows, right? It's just like water. It's just rhyming.
Dr. Brill wholeheartedly endorse Dr. David Brill for Congress.
I'm Dr. David Brill, and I approve this message.
And he just has this fucking shit-eating grin on his face, Dr. David Brill does. And his wife. They both are just like, oops. Like, literally, if you were just look at his face, all I could hear in my head is, did I do that? Oh, God. The ads are just too goddamn good. Too goddamn good. Oh, man. After all that, might need ourselves a little bit of a breather. I need to get a little bit into the into something relaxing. Maybe take a moment. You know, maybe we just need to. Sorry, the CD's skipping. Maybe we just need to dive into a little bit of data science. And folks, we do it in the only way we know how. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the
Get on the floor if you got that booty.
dance, 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 dance. This is a Gravis poll from the Montana Senate race. It was taken September 19th through the 22nd with a sample size of 710 likely voters. It has a 3.7% margin of error. Coming up first to the stage, he is your Republican with 45%. Let's get a big round of applause for Matt Rosendale. But your headliner and the incumbent, the Democrat, with 49% of the vote, it's John Tester! That is Rosendale, 45, Tester, 49. Just outside the margin of error. Tester, the incumbent, with a 4-point spread. So if there is to be a blue wave in the Senate, it is imperative that the Democrats hang on to seats like this. Seats like this, seats in Florida. Before you worry about whether or not Beto can beat Cruz, which no matter what happens, that would be the big headline if it happened on election night. The idea that the Democrats could take the Senate is very much contingent on them not losing the seats that they have on top of gaining seats that they don't. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get into your emails. It is theyoungamerican@gmail.com, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Periodically, I read your emails in my angry email voice. Just make sure that you write, "This should be read in the angry email voice" at the top of it. Mark gets the distinction this week. I get upset when you don't give the percentage before the candidate's name during the pole dance. It angers me so much when I can't get my parody strip club political data logically. Please consider using this format. Percentage, then candidate in future pole dances. Also, it would be great if you stream the election night coverage from Piano Fight in a show that starts at 7 p.m. local time, and you can get tickets at bit.ly/WaveWatch, unless it's too hard. Lastly, it would also be great to have an emergency podcast for everything that goes on Thursday. Thanks so much, Mark. Well, thank you, Mark. Hopefully you've recognized that I did try to apply your formula to the pole dance, and I will going forward. We were able to stream, at least on my wife's handheld, the Political Sex Scandal show, so I would assume we'll be able to do we'll be able to do that for this one. I would say the idea of the likelihood of an emergency podcast on Thursday, depending on what happens, fair, trending upward. How I would describe them. Thank you so much, Mark. Davin writes, up here in Vancouver, we're gearing up for the mayoral election, and the race so far is getting kind of bonkers. I figured you'd get a laugh at some of the candidates. The current mayor and a still sometimes working DJ is looking to retire but is returning to the race because of the following goons. There's a gaggle of weirdos on the ballot, but these two are my faves. I think you'll dig them. There's Jason LaMarche, a suspected neo-Nazi, complete with a Hitler stash, that once published a super misogynistic spreadsheet ranking his Tinder prospects called the Date Matrix. When he was called out about his shitty online behavior, he claimed that somebody was sneaking into his apartment, using his computer, and posting as him online over the course of an entire year. And then there's Angela Dawson, who is apparently Davin's old neighbor. She's a trans woman that's a local Z-list celebrity known for wearing glitter-laden neon pink ballerina outfits and rollerblading into intersections to quote-unquote direct traffic, screaming at random strangers who dare look at the spectacle. She had a YouTube account where she randomly shared her antics, and it is indeed solid gold. I figured you'd get a giggle or two from the race with 1,000 clowns up here. I'm starting to believe that Canada has the best mayors. I mean, you guys really roll out the red carpet for the loonies. Oh, like your coins. Anonymous writes, with Team Blue using sex assault as a political weapon, it replaces the previous tactic of calling every red teamer a racist. There's little to no defense available to the accused, and even if it's untrue, regardless of the evidence. I know I was the victim of a false accusation. Get this. My Sunday school teacher accused me of making an obscene phone call to her. I was 16. I did not make the call. I had plenty of evidence to prove my innocence, yet regardless of the mountains of evidence proving it, many people believed her. I was grilled to, quote, just tell the truth, end quote. That forgiveness is possible if I just admitted to something that I believed I didn't do. What the fuck? The pressure was immense. It was horrible to be accused of something I knew in my heart and soul I did not do. But here's the worst part. Honestly, I was tempted to admit something that I didn't do just to make it go away. The verbal and mental torture was horrible. 33 years ago, and it still weighs on my soul. It churns my guts just thinking about it now. And it's the worst I've ever felt, the most helpless I ever felt. It was false, and my friends didn't believe me. People who were my teachers didn't believe me. My parents even challenged my evidence, proving my innocence. My whole world was upside down, and suicide was an option in my 16-year-old mind. The world was totally against me. 33 years later, I harbor ill will against my accuser. She wrongfully accused me and tore apart a very fragile world at a fragile time. I'm not saying that she didn't get a phone call. She likely did. It's just not, and just like it's not to say that Professor Ford wasn't assaulted. She likely was. But no one gives the accused the benefit of the doubt. One must have evidence. I was forced to prove my innocence. I should not have been forced to prove anything. It's unfair. Again, I'm going to continue to say this, that this is a tremendously poor place to have a serious conversation about sexual assault and how we should treat accusations, because nobody is being honest about it. Everybody's operating politically. Because whether or not morally you assign yourself on one side or the other, politically, this is an all or nothing, fully on party lines fight. So I have sympathy for our anonymous emailer. I have tremendous sympathy for everybody that has made accusations here. But I almost don't even want to talk about it seriously, because we're not talking, like, that's not what we're talking about in this situation. In my opinion, we're not. We're talking about Democrats who don't want to see Kavanaugh sat and Republicans who do. And everything else is trying to do your best to staple whatever moral position you're comfortable taking to the tactics that will achieve that goal. That's that. I'm pretty sure that there are Democrats who are looking at Kavanaugh and saying, oh, geez, I wouldn't want to be in his position. And I'm pretty sure that there's Republicans that are saying, oh, geez, this is getting a little nasty. I don't know how comfortable I feel supporting this guy. Are either going to say it? Nope. Despite the fact that this is an incredibly nuanced issue with incredibly serious ramifications. So what does that tell you? Sistro writes, to keep things brief, as you have reported before, I am a reluctant Trump supporter, but if the Republican Senate backs down in the face of the latest smear attempt, I may sit out the next election. Republicans need to take a vote. We may or may not lose the House. We may or may not lose the Senate, but if our elected officials do not stand up to complete garbage like this, it is over. No matter what happens, the left will shit on us. We have the votes. Fuck Schumer and his bitches. Vote. If we don't, we might as well make Obama president for life because America is over if we don't stand up for what is right. Well, I think it might be a little hyperbole, but you do you, Pikachu. Cameron says, I'm in Orlando and I got this flyer in the mail about Anna Eskamani, a Democrat running in Central Florida's House District 47. I don't know anything about the local races right now because things are kind of heating up. But with this, they're heating up fast. I'm going to send you a picture of the flyer, but this article popped up in my timeline that has more context than her reaction. I don't know about her politics, but it's easy to assume, based on the flyer, what they are. However, and here, you want to know what? I'll just go from Cameron's description to the flyer itself. The flyer says, explicit language warning, edited to meet decency standards. Anna Eskamani, in her own words, and they show Anna Eskamani in a kind of Catwoman stance, like kind of a hitched hip, in a tight leather jacket with aviator shades on, holding up a bullhorn with these quotes. We've taken too much shit these days. Pussy power and fuck the patriarchy. Basically, it is shaming her for saying bad words. However, Eskamani is flattered, saying, is it just me or do these second attack mailers make me look fierce AF? I think that there's this weird tack that's happening right now, and who knows how effective it'll be. We'll have to wait for the election. But because you saw it with Ted Cruz, too, that one thing that is universal is that both sides believe. Now, both sides think it's the other side doing it, but both sides believe that we have a breakdown in decency, and that the reason why there is a breakdown in decency is that the other side keeps using dirtier tactics, so we have to use dirtier tactics. And so I guess this is an appeal to decency with an audience that does traditionally go out and vote. Older people, family values people, right? So we'll see. I'm not willing to shit on it because if the blue wave doesn't happen, if we sit here fruitless on our Wave Watch, and indeed, the Republican congressional majority is not,
and quietly get swallowed by a wave.
If maybe even it is a Republican red,
That's just the wave.
then you would have to say, all right, well, maybe there is a correction here. There is a reversion to the mean. But right now, it just makes that girl look cool as hell to me. I don't know. But then again, who am I?
Politics.
That about wraps it up for us. A reminder, you can email us, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Music has been provided by Valesco and Trop Killers. Follow me at Justin R. Young everywhere. And download archived episodes of this show at bonerwars.com. Wave Watch t-shirts. bit.ly/Wave Watch shirt, or go find me on all social media. I am posted up there. Buy tickets to the live show. bit.ly/Wave Watch. But that's about it. Thank you to everybody for watching. A reminder, some shows talk about politics. Others talk about politics. Still more, they talk about politics. But this is the only show that talks about all three. See you guys next week.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.